Hello, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk about what I think is the greatest American made martial arts flick of all time. But before I get into it, I got into martial arts as a kid, watching. There's a local TV station, I think it was Channel 66, where on Sundays they would just show old school kung fu flicks. I think it was called Samurai Sunday. Now, funny, it's called Samurai, but I don't think I ever recall seeing any Japanese martial arts film during that time, let alone anything samurai. If there was, there is probably like a Hong Kong flick with like samurais as being an enemy or something like that. So, but it's pretty much like Hong Kong movies from the I'd say late '60s probably through the '80s, and I don't think I've ever saw any bad kung fu movie at all. I mean, yeah, there's bad ones like plot wise, things like that, but it was bad in a funny way, if you understand what I mean. Like, it's probably more have to do with the dubbing and whatnot. But anyway, so I really was entertained through that. I didn't. That was pretty much my main influence for getting to martial art movies. I didn't have any buddies or family members or anything that were into it. It was just me watching Samurai Sunday. And so that's how I got into the martial arts realm. And in the 90s, outside of the Samurai Sunday, the 90s started like I'd say mid 90s on. They got into like I think martial arts, especially from Hong Kong, got really popular here in the States. You started to see Jet Li got kind of popular, but mainly Jackie Chan. And, you started to see his movies come in. His being, I think, his breakout is Rush Hour. I think that came out in '98, I would like to say, so late '90s. And from there on, it kind of brought a slew of like non-stop martial arts movies, whether it's from Hong Kong brought over here or overseas brought over here or American made. Now, going back a little bit, I know there are a lot of American made martial arts flicks. Van Damme is probably one of the most popular ones, if I recall, in the 90s, Kickboxer, Bloodsport. A lot of people would put that up there too, maybe in the top 10 of best American made martial arts flicks. But the holy grail, really, when anyone considers an American-made martial arts film and what they consider the best, would be most likely Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. Even though it's an American film, it was made here, obviously, and I think Robert Robert, he's the director of that. Still, I get it, Bruce Lee. That's one of the most influential movies that it really started it all, and got to give credit to that. But for me, and having seen martial arts flicks through, I'd say through the 2010s, you got good ones like Undisputed, and that series. There's a few other good ones as well in the recent years from the 2000s to maybe early 2010s. But, afterwards, I mean, to this day, let's say from 2015 on, I don't think there's ever a good movie that's, kind of martial arts based any longer. It seems to be at like a dying genre, at least for new movies. Yeah, I know that Hong Kong still makes them. There's other countries that still makes martial arts movies, but as from a popularity standpoint, nothing can really match here in the States at least what happened during, I'd say, the mid 90s through up to maybe 2010. And that made me kind of go back, and that's why I brought this topic up, is just to kind of reflect on all the martial art movies that I've watched, what I enjoyed. And this particular one, to me, is an absolute gem. It's an American-made movie, B-rated, with people that you never heard of. I still never heard of them. I wouldn't even know what they do right now. But this is the film. And I think that to me, this is hands down the best American made martial arts film of all time. It's called Drive. So this one is with Mark Dacascos and Kadeem Hardison and then Brittany Murphy. Although Brittany Murphy played a really small role in this one, but Kadeem Hardison you probably would know from I think it was called Different World, like the TV series, and Brittany obviously from the King of the Hill animated series. This happened way before. So this came out in 97, I think. Yeah, 1997. I think it's direct to VHS, they're direct to video. And you know, she was still relatively unknown. Mark Dacascos himself, I think relatively unknown. Kadeem Hardison was pretty much the guy that if you knew movies or television, you would know him rather than anyone else. But this film, I remember seeing this rented from Family Video. It's kind of like a Blockbuster, and it was like $1. They had nights where, I don't know, it was like a Tuesday or something. All rentals were like $1. So I picked this up. I didn't know what this was. Immediately from the start, all the way to the end, this movie blew me away. And I picked this movie up in early 2000, like 2002, 2003. Started watching this. This, hands down, it's like a movie you would think was made in Hong Kong at the height, the peak of martial arts, like Golden Harvest, Shaw Brothers, that type of stuff. You would think after watching this that it was made by one of those studios, top-notch Hong Kong martial arts studios, like, you know, that kind of thing. So, but it wasn't. It was made by, his name's Stephen Wang. And I think he's more of a like a studio, like art something. I don't know. He likes to make look him up. I don't want to make a mistake on that, but it's kind of like he made this movie out of a love of, you know, paying homage to, you know, martial arts, like Hong Kong films of the day. And it's not only, you know, paying homage to that, but he's paying great respect, if not doing more justice to it with this movie alone. I mean, I was so impressed with this. This movie is kind of like, if you think of Rush Hour, I always thought this was when I first saw this, I thought this ripped off Rush Hour. It's basically a buddy movie where Mark Dacascos and Kadeem Hardison, they kind of meet up, they team up, and then, you know, it's like a buddy movie, martial arts buddy flick, but they're not cops, right? They're not cops, not like in Rush Hour. And Rush Hour came out a year after this. I didn't realize that. So after I found that out, I was like, did Rush Hour take cue from this? I don't know, but this movie has it all, okay? Number one, the martial arts. I mean, again, as I mentioned, this is like peak Hong Kong, like Shaw Brothers or Golden Harvest style movies where you think of the best Jackie Chan, best Jet Li. It has it all. It's more Jackie Chan, really, in this movie. So it has the best like martial arts, best kind of stunt style martial arts. And not only that, the dialogue, the relationship and dialogue, the banter between Mark and Kadeem is pretty impressive. It's really funny. I mean, I gotta admit, I think to a degree, it's better than Rush Hours between, you know, Jackie and Chris Tucker. So the dialogue, everything is great on this. Even the bad guys, there's one guy that spits out some of the sharpest dialogue I've ever heard. Like, my favorite quote from this movie is where he says, eat flour, shit cupcakes, something like that. I think that's how it goes. I mean, there's some great dialogue in here. Pretty impressive. And now the only downside to this is, like, because it was like a B-rated movie or it's kind of very low budget film, like the special effects in terms of like explosions and so forth is, you can tell it's kind of cheesy, you know, cheap made and things like that. But considering this is even back then, it's a '97 movie. That you can pass, and it doesn't happen often. The entire movie mainly is from the martial arts between these with these two guys, and in the bad guys. It's very impressive. It's so good that again you would mistaken this from a Hong Kong, like a top notch studio movie. So I'm to this day, this movie alone. I mean, now let me compare this to the reason why I think this is better than Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. Now, Bruce Lee movie is great. Again, it's one of the most influential movies of like martial arts movie of all time. But from a what you would call martial arts perspective, now if, most people who want to watch martial art movies, they want to watch the martial arts, right? The story can be secondary, plot, things like that, acting. You can let it pass a bit, but the martial arts has to be top notch. And for me, the Bruce Lee for Enter the Dragon, great stuff from Bruce Lee, hands down. The iconic scene with the nunchucks and all that. But the choreography for a lot of the fight scenes is okay. To me, it's just mediocre. They're not even his Bruce Lee's best stuff. His best stuff is probably in like his other movies, like Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon. Those movies, like think of the the ice scene in the factory, or the dojo scene, or the Chuck Norris scene. Those are, I think, better like choreography than the one in Enter the Dragon. Now I know a lot of people will probably diss me with that, but what it is, what it is. That's how I feel. But for this hands down, everything's so good with this. The martial arts is fantastic. The stunt choreography and stuff like that too is top notch. The acting is okay. It's but the banter between the two main characters I think is great for what it is. Even Brittany, I didn't like her character in this movie, but it's something different. You gotta watch it. It's kind of crazy, but it definitely something to watch it first, from beginning to end. And I can guarantee you won't get disappointed. If you love like action, martial arts, and some comedy in there, some sharp dialogue, this will not disappoint, hands down. And to this day, and again, I've watched a lot of martial arts, not every single one, but a lot. And even I've seen most of the American-made martial art flicks. I don't consider like The Matrix or American movies where they have partial martial arts. It's not really a martial arts movie, but they have some martial arts choreography. I won't put that in. I won't lump it with this. I'm just talking about pure martial arts based movies. And for an American movie, American made, American directed, with everyone in here, this hands down is the best American made martial arts film of all time. If you watch this and you say something else, I don't know what to say. This has it all. This has it all. Highly recommend. I remember when I first saw this at, I think it was Circuit City. This is one of those few things where I paid full price for. I think it was $9.99. And I never regretted it. I wish, I don't know if they ever put this on Blu-ray. I know you can watch it stream it for free and things like that, which I highly recommend you doing. If you haven't seen this yet and is interested, you could definitely stream it. But definitely give this a shot. So anyway, just my thoughts on the martial arts genre. All right, thank you. Bye.